Hello. So, I just got back from the hospital and I have found out that I have a collapsed lung. My left lung is collapsed, which I was very, very, very shocked to find out. So, anyway, sadly I didn't get any photos. The person that came in with me didn't have a phone or camera on them, but that's okay because I'm alive and well, which is awesome. So, it all happened pretty quickly. So, where it all started was well, actually, yeah, well, again, because I had this. So anyway, on the morning, so on Thursday, so after I'd done the sixth stream, the sixth, which one was it? The sixth Brawl Stars stream. I went to bed and was having my chest was really really sore. And I lay down, it was just sort of painful. I could see like my heart beating a little bit, and it just felt really out of place and really uncomfortable. And I thought that, oh, my neck, like my back might be out of place or something because of like just holding it like this, or I don't know what. But because I remember way back in Rush Wars days around about November 2019. There we go. It may have been October, but anyway, I remember feeling the same thing, and it lasted for like 3 days. It was like really really sore, and the last day it was just agonizing in that. But then eventually I woke up and it sort of like was back in place, sort of, and just sort of worked. And anyway, so not last night, the night before last night, after I'd just finished the stream, and I'm not sure what time I finished that one. I think it was like 2 or 3 a.m. I went to bed and it was just really 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 sore and that. So I went to bed in that and thought, oh man, it's like that again. It's what's this is not good. So anyway, I woke up yesterday morning, and I went about the day. It was still sore because it hadn't gone away overnight. So all through the day, it was sort of like quite sort of like sit or move or whatnot. It was quite sore. And anyway, then last night I did the seventh stream in that. And it was sore when I was doing that, but not too bad. I mentioned it a couple of times. But yeah, when I went to bed, it was just absolutely agony. Like, no matter whether I was on my side, on my front, on my other side, or on my back, it was just so sore. Like one of the most painful experiences I've had like in my life. And I'd say I'll probably put it as like an 8 out of 10 on the pain scale and that. So and I could like there was like no comfortable position. You know when you sometimes like sick from vomiting, there's sort of like at least some sort of position you find, and then you just stay still and you're okay. This was like there was like nowhere. Like no matter where I like turned, it was like agony just to turn over, and just wherever I turned, it was just extremely painful. I was like, man, my back must be so badly out now, or whatnot, and so I managed to get to sleep, so I sort of like because I finished the stream early yesterday, so and then so then I went to bed like about an hour after I finished the stream, so I sort of like kind of hunched over and I managed to get to sleep, and I think I woke up in the night and then managed to get back to sleep, and then I woke up at like 8:30, and it's like I'm not going to be lying because lying was just like lying down was just extremely painful. It's just like I'm not going to stay lying down. So I got up at like 8:30 and because I wasn't going to go back to sleep in that time. And got up and had breakfast and that. And then I had to talk to my mum and thought, well, maybe I should call the doctor. And it was like, I don't know, because I was like, oh, I don't know, because I mean, it's like since I had it before in like November, I was like, oh, I think I think it will be okay, and should come right in that. But it was like, well, I guess there's no harm in trying. So anyway, I rang up the doctor and went into the doctor. There we go. Like, no, no, no. What I did, wait. Yeah. I went into the doctor. Wait, I'm just trying to think the order of things. Yeah, I went into the doctor at like what was it? Oh, like 9:30 or something. Yeah, and about 9:30 I went to the doctor. And anyway, they did it. They ran the test. They did this thing on my finger. I'd never seen it, and they just not a prick, but they just go like this thing on it, and I think that measures your heartbeat. They did the thing where they put the thing on your arm and pump it up. I love that thing. And then there was one other thing. Oh yeah, then they had the stethoscope measuring along there, and then they did this tapping thing on my back, and yeah, and so and then he was still like, oh, everything's looks pretty normal in that breathing and all that. Although he said on the left side it's quite faint and that, like, and so he was like, what you've probably got is, I don't know what he said, I don't know if like young people get it, but it's muscular dystrophy. He thought it was probably muscular dystrophy that I had, and and like it's like just sort of you get a bit tight around there and that kind of stuff. You see, like, and there's a low chance that it's this thing. In fact, I'll just get it up now. I've still got it, have I? There we go, muscular dystrophy. Or the other one was, there we go, what was the other one? There we go, Pneumothorax. He's like, there's a low chance of that where there's like a little bit of air has leaked out and it's got behind your lung or whatnot. And but he's like, it's probably the muscular dystrophy in that. He's like, I will refer you for an X-ray. So like an X-ray and whatnot. So then it's like, oh yeah. So then, and that was at 10:30, 10:30. No, 11:20. So then anyway, I came back home and because I had driven there and driven back and that, and then that's when I recorded the video, which I haven't released yet, about, or maybe I will have by the time I release this one, about Fort Lee, now how it's called Logan, and Logan Ted, the Fort Lee. So I had done that video, there we go, just before I headed off, and so then I headed off with my nana, and we went to a like after hours place that, not after hours or 24/7 or something, that does these X-rays or whatnot. So anyway, I was just thinking, oh yeah, they're just X-ray, and then everything's good. So I went in and yeah, then we then, oh yeah, because the receptionist at the doctor had then given me the the note saying it's 11:30 and all that. So anyway, then we went to this one, and then we had these masks to put on and hand sanitize, and which I've been wearing this the whole day, and since I put it on then. So then the receptionist said, oh yeah, go sit over there. So we sat over there, and then I had someone get me to go to another spot. There we go, which I then sat down and waited, and then someone else get me and take me into the X-ray machine and do the X-ray, which was really, it was so quick. It was so quick. Just had to take off my shirt and jersey and then just scan it, and then it was just done. And then that lady talked to another lady who then said that, oh yeah, I go sit down, and well, they'll just check they're like, oh yeah, well, I think we'll get you to wait till we see the results rather than just go home. So anyway, I went back out and sat down, and then another lady came over, and I can't remember, but anyway, then I had to ask the reception or whatnot that, yeah, like, and then tell this new receptionist lady information. So yeah, because I went down and sat down. There we go. Yeah. So we went down and sat down on a different. We were told to go to a different spot. So we sat down there, and then she's like, "Sir, please step up to the desk." And so I like, no. She said, "Take a step forward." So I stepped forward, and she's like, "No, I mean like come to the desk." So I went to the desk and that, and then she was like, "So what's happening? What's gone wrong in that?" And then I was just like, "Well, my chest is sore in that, like, and like on both sides and all that." And then she was like, because they hadn't given her the scan yet, and then she's like, there we go. She's like, she's like, I haven't got any information on this child. It was like, and then anyway, and then it was like, and so then I told her that, and then they got her the scan, which was good, and then she took me through to this other spot, and then it might have been someone else that did that. There's so many people involved. So on this bed thing, and then we waited there, and then shortly some more people came, and they're like, you've got a collapsed lung. And I was just shocked. I'm like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like me? Like, I don't know. It's just so strange. Like, just healthy. Like, I'm pretty healthy in that, Like, I don't go to the gym, but I'm still pretty healthy in that. And, fairly, well, a little bit fit, And so, yeah, and anyway, then, like, two people came in that. And then they got me to lie down, take off my shirt, and was doing, like, this thing. Like, they put gel there, and then we were, like, doing this thing so they could see, like, inside in that, and could, like, tell what was happening in that. And then they had this X-ray. Well, it wasn't an X-ray thing. It was, like, a machine that, as they moved it, they could see live results in that. So then, then they were both very helpful. And then another lady came. There's, like, two more ladies came and explained what was happening in that and what had happened, with the collapsed lung and that, and how I then have to have this needle stuck into me, and then for them to remove the air in that. So they then fairly quickly called the ambulance, and so then two people from St. John. I was kind of in shock, just like, I just couldn't believe it. I was almost not even going to go to the doctor. The doctor probably was like, I don't know, almost seemed borderline that I was referred to getting an X-ray. And then I'm here, and all of a sudden they're like, you have a collapsed lung. It's like, what the heck? Like, how did that just happen? And then they asked me when I said it was about 2 a.m. or whatnot. On the Thursday morning. That's crazy. That's so recent. So yeah, so 2 nights ago, there we go. And yeah, so I just couldn't believe it, because I could just as well have not even come in, because because it happened back in November, and that, not to the same extent, not like last night. Last night was really, really painful. The previous night was it was painful, but not that bad. Like the last night, it was painful to breathe, like just and I could like hear it sort of like sounds like clicking, or it didn't sound right. There we go. And so anyway, this seems like such a bad format to do one of these videos, like with the like photos and images would have made it like way cooler and that. But hey, the fact that I can come back here and do this, yes. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so then the St. John arrived. Oh yeah, and then because they took all my like blood pressure and all that again, and they put the thing on my finger all the time. Okay, there we go. I'd never seen that thing until then. I think it takes heart rate or blood pressure or something. Oh, this really hurts. It really hurts to do a deep breath. It really hurts. And laughing, that's the worst, because like someone will like say a joke of that, and I was like laughing. It's like really, really hurts. You say just two, like one type of laugh I do, it doesn't hurt, but the other type it's like ouch. So anyway, then I was taken in an ambulance. I've never been in an ambulance other than sort of just like a like a tour or whatnot. So anyway, I was just like shocked in that, and then they did the blood pressure thing and the finger thing again, and we actually knew one of the ambulance ladies, which was really nice. And yeah, so anyway, then I didn't know them very well personally, but my nana did. And so anyway, then they took us directly into the unit. So there was a young male driver and then the lady, and they took us in, which was awesome. And yeah, then we went in, and then they took me. They put me on a wheelchair and that. Now I was capable of walking, but they still then wheeled me in and then put me on a bed in there. And then a nurse came in and started doing all these tests. So she put all these like metal things through here, not through, on like the sticker things and that. And then she could do like an MCU scan or something in there. And then they had that thing on the side, and they had that thing there. And then on my arm, they put, it actually hurts to take this out like this. They offered me paracetamol, but I didn't have the paracetamol. There we go. Oh, there we go, like that. Yum. So they put like this big needle. No, they did put a needle in, I think, to get the blood test and that. And then they put this other thing that was plastic that didn't have a needle in it, or maybe it was glass. I don't know. And it had a little bit of metal on the end, so they put that in there. And then they had to wait for the blood test and that. And then the guy was asking me all these questions, like if I smoked or if I all these other questions and that, like when it started happening, how much pain it felt and that. Yeah, and so he said there's sort of like three groups. Like sometimes it's triggered by like a trauma, trauma, and he said sometimes obviously people with like lots of lung conditions in the past and that. And then he said, and it is a group that like smokers and that also more likely to have in that. And then he says that there's another small group. I think he said 7 out of 10,000 people get it, and it is like just like people that are generally tall and healthy. Tall and skinny in that. Well, I'm not that tall, but I'm not short. So yeah, and anyway, and they just sometimes happen for no apparent reason. And I think that's what it appeared to happen to mine. It had and it could have potentially happened back in November without me even realizing it, because it can, if it's a smaller one, heal itself or whatnot. So that and he said, if you look it up on the internet, be wary, because there's a lot of information. And I actually searched it up before the Pneumothorax, before I went, because that was one of the two that the doctor mentioned. I looked up I actually showed it. Yeah, I showed it in the previous video. I was like, I could have this or this, and neither looked good, because one of them said eventually you'll end up not being able to walk potentially from it, and the other one said that you might need assisted breathing. I mean, I just sort of like instinctively jumped to like the worst thing, like the worst parts of it and that. And so yeah, so then that he was waiting for the blood test and that. But he said that, yeah, that's right. They said that my other lung was fully operational and was operating at like 97 to 100%. It was like, let's go. Wait, the left, yeah. So that one must be. It's crazy though. Like it just collapsed, like just gone. They said there's like it's just almost nothing left. It's just collapsed. It's like, flipping heck, that's like scary. Like, well, but then I thought like, it's like I'm only operating on one life. And that goes, it's like, yeah, but we're all operating on one heart. So I mean, yeah. But yeah, it was like just crazy. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention as soon as I got to the because that's right. Retracing a bit when I was in the other place and doing the testing at the 24 hours place in that, and they told me that I had and then I was like, they're like, oh, you might have to go to hospital. I'm like, really, in the hospital? And then they're like, oh yeah, and then they'll do this thing, and I was like, oh, yeah, just go in this afternoon, get it done, and then come back and that. And they're like, and you might be in hospital to 2 to 3 days. And that was like, I don't know, it was just almost as shocking to me, like that, like 2 or 3 days, like, I haven't scheduled any videos, I couldn't do the streams, I've got other stuff that I'm working on in life that I haven't got finished yet either. It's like, oh no, it was like, that, I was almost as shocked about that. And it sort of just reminded me, it's like, there are far more important things in life than, just doing your stream, doing your videos. I mean, that's cool, but I mean, like, but it was like almost like I was equally devastated by the fact that my lung had collapsed is the fact that, oh no, I just like, I'm planning, and like, the next 24 hours will be this video, this video, this video, the next 24 will be this one, this one, this one, then just knowing like 48 hours or whatnot. And since it's coronavirus, around, then it has to be very ultra careful in that, and then I might not have, and I didn't have my iPad or anything with me. It's like, oh no, like, that was just like, no. So I was like, really, really like, no, this is gonna be terrible, because it's like, what am I gonna do? What are you guys gonna think? But again, in January I had to take a break off. But I don't know, when I'm like full pelt into it, it's like, I can't just do that, and I even emailed someone telling them, these are the, like, I probably have either this or this condition and that. And then they just would have had no contact from me for like 3 days. They'd be like, I probably would have got someone to try and message them to tell them the situation. But yeah, it was, so I was like, it's just sort of like, I was in shock almost in the ambulance and that. Like, I was seated, I wasn't lying down, and they didn't have the lights going and that. But yeah, I was almost just in shock just how rapidly, like, just a few hours ago, it was just every day, everything's awesome, and then all of a sudden it's like, flipping heck, I've got a collapsed lung, and I'm traveling in an ambulance to, the emergency unit. It's like, that escalated quickly. Like, it was really shocking. I don't know, just sort of, like, how quick, it just deteriorated in that. And how it just got, like, it was so bad last night, and just like now it's like, I don't know, it's like suddenly, I mean, but I know suddenly everything else doesn't seem that important. Like, it doesn't matter about doing the YouTube videos and that. But at the same time, I was still like, that's very important. It's like, dude, no, it, like, not relatively, no, it's not. I got to get my lungs sorted. Like, it doesn't matter if you take 48 hours off YouTube, or I don't know, but I was just like, it's like, I haven't planned for that. I haven't got the videos ready. I can't tell them that I won't be streaming tonight, and I won't be streaming tonight, or whatnot. And so I was just like really in shock at that. But yeah, also just the fact that like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, like, I'm just this, I haven't really had any health conditions or that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, I've got a collapsed lung, like, and I'm young. I'm like, it's like, this is terrible. It's like, yeah, I was just really, really, really shocked in that. I was super shocked. I just couldn't believe it. So anyway, then I was in, had gone in the ambulance to this place and that, and doing that, and they're all very nice and that, helpful in that, and talking me through, like, and they did offer me they offered me Nurofen and that, and asked if I had any, but I hadn't, or asked if I had any allergies, or asked if I was on regular medication, or asked a whole heap of different questions to get all the information and that. I don't know. It's I like, because so when the ambulance worker had to fill in all the paperwork, I almost felt bad. It's like, I hate doing paperwork, I absolutely hate it, and I don't want to cause them to do all this paperwork and that. I'm like, I do appreciate that this stuff is on document, obviously, but I don't want them to have to just do all this paperwork. So I felt a bit bad. Like, I was like, oh no, now they have to do all this paperwork, and I feel really bad for them. So, but yeah, I mean, you obviously need that kind of stuff on record, but I don't know, I'd hate to cause them too much trouble having to write it all down in that. So I went back onto the monitoring system and that, and yeah, they said it's not, they said it can be a repeat condition, so it could happen again next year or whatnot. So, and it's, I don't know, it makes me a little bit sad that I've got like a bad lung. It's like everything was just going swell, and now all of a sudden it's like, my lung's not good. So that's a bit of a shame, but yeah, it was interesting. It was quite the experience, and yeah, it was a bit sort of shocking in that, I was totally unprepared. Like, I was just like, this morning it was like, do I even go to the doctor? And they're like, yeah, okay, I'll go with it. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just go on for the x-ray and then just go home, and then I'll just wait a little bit, and then you got a collapsed lung. It's like, what? Like, no, like, no, like what? It's just crazy. So anyway, then I went in and yeah, there was so and waited in that, and I had my nana there, which was really nice. And yeah, it was just sort of really sort of shocking in that, like I just couldn't like just like how just in the matter of hours it goes from everything's fine to like I've got a collapsed lung and I'm in hospital, and a like quite a serious unit place, and I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, man, this video is gonna be long. I just in my mind, it's like, oh, it'll just be a 5 minute video. 20 minutes later, what the heck? Okay, anyway, but I didn't say at the start how long I thought it was gonna be, so that was a lot of time. So anyway, then he came back and said, okay, so we got a couple of options in that, while we wait for the blood test, to think about, and he's like, either, we can, put you in for, 2 or 3 days in that, and have the metal thing in there, or like the needle, that takes out all, or I don't know exactly what it was, it takes out all it reinflates, the lung and that, or he said, he did say that I had like a large one though, because, which is not good. You don't want them at all, but like he says that obviously the big ones are worse, but he says that since I maybe had it in November, or probably had it in November 2019 and healed from it, I could happen again in that. And he said, like you can just take Panadol, and if it gets, if Panadol isn't enough, that's probably the sign that you need to come in, And he says if it gets worse, just immediately come directly into here rather than via the thing you have to wait like sometimes a few hours to get in, and that. So he said, so either that or that, And I was like, So I was like, because I didn't really want to be in there for ages, but if I needed to be, I was like, well, this is far more important than, like getting some of the other stuff done in life that I normally get done. So I thought, yeah, I was like, okay, I was like, well, if I only have to put up with the pain for like another couple of nights, 2, 3, 4 nights, and it's not going to do permanent damage by not having that thing inserted and it working like that. I was like, I'd probably just go home, but like, you're the doctor, like kind of thing. And so because I mean, if it wasn't life threatening, no, now that I know what it is and know that it's not like I'm about to die, knowing what it is, and if I just have to, that I know what it is, that's very comforting to know, even though it's like, oh, it's a collapsed lung. It's not great to know. I mean, it's better to know than not to know, isn't it? It'd be better if it didn't happen. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, well, if if I only have to put up for the pain a little bit, it's not life threatening, it won't do damage not to have it done via that, then I would go home if and so then anyway, so then waited for but I was sort of shocked because then suddenly it was like, okay, so it's not that serious then. I don't know, it just didn't seem very serious. As soon as he said that, like he says, like, the two options: one, you're in hospital for like and have this thing done, which could take 2 or 3 days or 24 to 48 hours to have the process completed, or B, you can just go. It's like, what? Like, that doesn't sound very serious then, does it? Yeah, anyway, but I mean, it's good. I mean, it's definitely, I'd rather it not serious than that, but like, in my mind, it was already, like, really serious and really real, and this is terrible, and then I mean, it's not great, but, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, you could just go home and it will hopefully heal. It's like, okay, there we go. So anyway, so then he waited for the blood test and that, and said that the results of the blood test were actually pretty good. And because of the fact I'm young, and healthy, my other lungs working perfectly fine, and I think and probably in November I did recover from it, and he said there are potential complications and risks with doing it like via the needle method. He says, if you just go home and that, and then, if it gets any worse, just let us know, and they'll do is I'll go back for another scan on Monday, and then 2 weeks later I'll go back for a scan and that. So that was that. And yeah, that sort of, yeah, but yeah, it was very real. It was sort of like having never been in the ambulance or never been in a hospital myself. Like, obviously I've visited people in hospital, but never like actually just been in, like, as been in like, I'm the patient, like, what? In such a short amount of time. I mean, yeah, but yeah, I was just very shocked, and then, but then, so it was almost like my emotions were just all over the show. It's like, this is nothing, we can go to the doctor, and yeah, there's still nothing, we can go into the thing, and then all of a sudden, you got a collapsed lung. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, that's terrible, and just like getting very, like, just shocked and concerned in that, and then on top of that, as soon as they said, oh, you might be in hospital for like 2 to 3 days, I was like, oh no, I was even more shocked and concerned in that. So it was like, and then going to ambulance, like, what the heck, like, because I just driven there myself to the place and that, like, I was the one driving, and yeah, and I would just, yeah, but they got an ambulance and they took me in and then put me on a wheelchair and took me in and that, which I could walk, but yeah. So it was just, and then it was sort of like, so it was like really shocking. I just was in disbelief that that happened and that. And then, they said, that I could just, potentially just go and it will hopefully heal, which I was like, we'll see how it goes tonight. There we go. Hopefully not too painful, but we'll see. So yeah, it was quite a thing in that, but yeah, I'm glad that I'm so I got back shortly and then I just rang my mum to let her know because we didn't have a phone with us. I don't use a mobile phone basically at all, and my nana had forgotten hers. So yeah, that was yeah, but the yeah with the person on the ambulance kindly let my nana ring my mum and let her know what was happening, that I was going in with the collapsed lung and that. So yeah, it's crazy. It's insane. But I massively, massively thank and appreciate each and every one of the nurses and the doctors who were so kind and so helpful. I really appreciate you guys. That was like, it was a nice experience. Like, well, in the shocking experience, they made it as nice as possible. So I thoroughly thank you and appreciate you for making it as pleasant as it could be under the circumstances. So thank you so much for your work there. Thank you. So yeah, it was quite an experience. I don't really know what else to say. There we go. So it's good that I probably will stream tonight. I haven't completely decided. I'll see. Because yeah, I mean, like in this position here, I should be fine. Like hopefully, I don't know. It's if I do like lying down really hurts. If I do deep breaths, like that really hurts. That really hurts. Or if I like laugh, like if I don't know, that can really jolt it and that. But it was crazy because my lung would have probably been, I don't know, because I don't know if it goes slowly or full, but probably yesterday's stream I was streaming the whole time with a collapsed lung, and if I do it tonight it will be the same. But like, I didn't know last night that I had collapsed lung. I just sort of let's go, but that's why I sort of like a little bit. Yeah, you could see a little bit, and I did mention a couple of times it was a bit sore in that. But yeah, I was like, I never would have guessed I have a collapsed lung. Like that's just shocking. That's just insane. But yeah. Anyway, I'm alive. I'm fine. There we go. I'm super psyched. There we go. I'm happy to be happy to yeah. It's good that it's nothing worse, and that hopefully it will heal by itself. And if not, I can go in and have the procedures done, and I can then let you guys. I mean, I didn't have to make this video, but I wanted to make it if even for myself. It was such a shame. There we go. There we go. I looked quite the part when just like lying there. I was under a blanket, had the this on. I had this thing in my arm, had that on my side, had that on my finger. It was like oh yeah, they had all these metal things like they're sort of like these sticky pad things with a little bit of metal on, and then they had all these like wires attached to it. It was crazy in that. But anyway, that's okay. I'd far rather be okay than have got a photo of me being not okay. I mean, yeah, like I wasn't great then, but you know what I mean. But so I'm very happy to be alive. I'm happy that it's not worse than it is, and yeah, I'm pretty shocked that I ever like right now as I speak during this very video, this whole lung is collapsed. What? That's crazy. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up this video. Yeah, I don't know. I take it not many people watch it, but I mean it's here and it was like a really crazy experience and that. So yeah, it was glad that it all worked out okay. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video. And you're welcome to ask me questions in the comments below and that. Yeah, you're more than welcome to ask me questions and that. So hopefully it doesn't result in later complications. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Oh, it just hurts to bend it too much too quickly. But there we go. It should be okay now. There we go. So yeah. And once again, thank you so much to the amazing nurses and doctors that made it wonderful and yeah, not awful. So thank you so much for helping. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. See ya.